What's up, everybody? So we back and we are talking about Wicked for Good. Just came back from the theaters. Wicked, the second installment from the first movie that came out with Ariana Grande as Glenda and Cynthia Erivo as Alphaba, the Wicked Witch of the West. I'm here joined with my boy Andrew once again. Andrew, how you feeling?
You already know what to do. What's good, man?
Yes, sir. I'm here. I'm here. Salute to you, brother.
Yes, sir.
So we all, we came back from watching Wicked, Wicked for Good this time. I want to say first off, let me just start off by saying I didn't go to see the first Wicked in theaters. I actually saw the first Wicked when it was available for streaming, and I really was disappointed in myself for not actually having that experience to see this movie in theaters because I felt like it was such a great film. I never seen the actual live Broadway show. Did you ever see the live Broadway of Wicked?
Never. All I know is that it was tied into the Wizard of Oz and shit. And
Yeah.
I wasn't too familiar with it neither. So I know when I took my wife to it to watch it, the first one in the theaters, I wasn't like I said, another movie where I'm just
Mm,
like, let's see what it looked like. And
yeah.
then I was like, oh shit, this is actually pretty good.
Yeah, yeah, right. Like that's how I felt watching it. I'm like, when I was watching, I was like, damn, I should have watched this thing in theaters, man. I was so mad that I didn't see this experience in theaters. The music, Ariana Grande, my darling. I love Ariana. I love her. I think she's great. I think this is one of the roles that Ariana Grande really made her own. I don't think she'll get cast type as this because obviously, I don't think they're gonna make any more of these movies. But as far as like playing Glenda the Good, I think she was great at that. The music, the singing, the songwriting, everything was amazing. And now we're here at, the second installment, which is Wicked for Good. This is basically kind of like a punchline. I'm wicked, but this time wicked for good. So I like this movie. I think this was a great movie. I don't think I liked it as much as I liked the first. Like,
Yeah.
how do you feel about that?
I felt the same way. I definitely part one definitely left more of a reaction to like, oh shit, this actually was pretty good.
Yeah,
The second installment, you know, it came in and it had to, this was the final installment. There wasn't going to be a third one after this, so they had to end it the way they needed to, and
right.
then
Yeah,
also kind of incorporate the Wizard of Oz into it, which at first I was like, oh shit, I forgot they were a part of this,
yeah,
and if people didn't know that, right? But like me, I barely knew that. I didn't really know that at first.
right. Yeah,
Wicked for good, right? Like when I first saw that title, I was like, what the fuck that mean? Wicked for good.
right.
I didn't know what it mean, but
Wicked
when you
for
watch the
good.
movie,
Yeah,
100%, you find out why, and
exactly. Yeah.
I thought that was good.
Yeah. I mean, I think what I did like about this movie, it's a little it takes a different little trajectory away from what part one was because part one was basically more about Glenda, meeting Alphaba for the first time. It explored more of their friendship. It explored, the origin of how they became to be. One was more of a good witch, where the other one was more of a bad witch. The only difference is one actually had powers, the other one did not. The other one is actually more of a, how you say, like a celebrity amongst the people of Oz. She's there to inspire good. She's there to inspire their hopes, their build them up basically. You know what I'm saying? So she's not more of like what Alphaba was. Alphaba was kind of like shunned in that regard. She was shunned in school. The father didn't really care much for her because they all looked at her like she was a freak. She was an outcast, and Glenda was just the one that everybody she was popular amongst the people of Oz, right? And in
Yeah,
this movie, it's different because it's more about her trying to expose the wizard for being a fraud to the people of Oz, right?
yeah. So
So
you find out on the first one. My bad. Go ahead, finish.
no, 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 I'm good. Go ahead.
No, because I was gonna say you find out in the first installment that you know, when Elphaba found out that the Wizard of Oz was actually a fraud and he was trying to stop the animals from, talking and kind of, you know, shaming them and all that stuff, right? She ended up losing all like, everything she felt about the Wizard of Oz. It went to shit, and you know, in the second installment, you see what happens. You see it unfold a lot more.
I want to touch on the most important part of this film. The music. So in part one, there was, because we all know, like, The Wicked is a play. It's a Broadway musical. If you're going to see this movie, you have to expect there's going to be a lot of music. There's going to be a lot of singing. So the first one, Wicked, I will say that I feel like I enjoyed a lot more of the songs from part one than I did in this one, with the exception of the final act, which I feel like that was probably the best song piece they had. How you feel about that?
Oh yeah, 100%. It was the so, and I think to come back to what you were saying about how the first one kind of resonated more with us than the second one. I think, and I might be wrong. You might have to fact check me later, but I feel like the soundtrack was out prior to, or at least some singles prior to
Mm.
the first Wicked movie. And because I remember my wife was singing that shit like all day. I'm like, what are you singing?
Really?
I was like, God damn, what song is this? And then I was like, when we went to watch the movie, it was like, oh,
Okay.
that makes sense. And so she
Yeah.
was out singing them with him. So it
Really? Okay.
I think it kind of like brought that part one music more uh at a higher level than well, and like I said, part two, it literally just came out,
Right.
and the soundtrack probably dropped today too. And
Mm.
so I'm
Yeah.
assuming as soon as people get off the theater, they're gonna start fucking going to
They're gonna
iTunes,
start. Yeah.
start listening to it. Because yeah, for sure, um uh the song that Elphaba sings, right? Yeah, Elphaba. The song that Elphaba sings by herself when and the act three, or I think
Right.
maybe the end of act two, where she finally kind of says fuck it, right?
Right.
And
Yeah.
she's just gonna play the role.
Right.
That right there, she ended up fucking hitting me in the goddamn in the chest. I was like, oof. And
Yeah.
she's just so good with that shit, man. Her singing is crazy. And yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like when I saw this and I left the theater, I was like, yeah, what saved this movie a lot, if anything, was these two and their fucking voices, because it's insane.
Yeah,
They
I,
kill it.
I agree with you on that. I definitely agree with you on that. We also have Michelle Yeoh and Jeff Goldblum who comes back as the Wizard of Oz, and I also I love seeing Jeff Goldblum, in these performances where he's like, he's just himself. You know what I'm saying? And he does a great job as the Wizard of Oz. I think he really like did great in this role.
Yeah, I
It
feel like he's
was
not even trying, man.
yeah, yeah, he's just able to just be himself, and it really works.
It resonates.
And yeah, and I also like that this movie was the one where we actually got to see you know more of the cast that we're familiar with from the Wizard of Oz, where it actually introduces you to, like, the Cowardly Lion, the Tin Man. I like how they actually explain kind of how these characters came to be, because as someone who grew up on the Wizard of Oz, the first Wizard of Oz, excuse me, with Dorothy, and the Yellow Brick Road when they're going to see the wizard, that was the story from their perspective. The first Wicked didn't really have that. It didn't really, touch on Dorothy yet because they didn't meet them yet. They weren't a part of the story. And in this one, Dorothy, they actually do show up to confront the wizard, but we don't really get to see them like really up close and personal. You kind of only hear from the Tin Man and the Lion, and then you see the Scarecrow. We don't. I will say Dorothy. Really, you didn't really get to see who Dorothy was in this movie.
Yeah,
Which
they really had
I,
her. They didn't show her face on that for sure.
yeah, I felt like that was kind of I felt like that was kind of a lost cause. I felt like they kind of should have gave us that, but I still kind of like how they did it.
And the first Wizard of Oz like come down in a bubble, I think, if I'm not mistaken. So
Yeah,
obviously it's not old girl, but you know what I'm saying? Like they kind of that came from part one to kind of help you people realize like, oh, this is from Wizard of Oz. This was after or this was right before things started getting crazy
yeah.
with Dorothy and them.
Yeah, and one thing I like about this also is that, like, every question you could have had, every like plot hole that they could have left in the Wizard of Oz, I feel like they filled it in Wicked for Good. Like, if you ever wonder, like, how did Dorothy get trapped in that tornado? How did that happen? Like, how did the Tin Man lose his heart? How did the Lion become cowardly? It's all like explained within
Yeah,
this movie, and I really
they did
liked
that.
how they kind of did that.
Yeah, I like how they did that too. It was good. It was good they did that.
Yeah, it really kind of like came full circle and it really explained a lot. It makes me feel like, if you're someone who watches The Wizard of Oz, if you've ever watched the movie, if you ever watched the play or anything like that, you want to see this movie because you kind of it fills in so much that now you kind of have a greater understanding as to why everything happened and why it came to be. So I really did enjoy that much about this movie.
Yeah, man, that movie's a classic for sure.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
1939, bro. That shit came out.
yeah, yeah. I
That
was I wasn't even born.
nah, not a lot of people were born, bro. I think my grand.
It's an old ass movie, you know what I mean? This movie explains a lot. It explains how the monkeys joined forces with the Wicked Witch. It explains how they became, allied. It explains how Glenda the Good became Glenda the Good. All these things are basically brought together, and the climax and everything. It tells a great story. And it actually leads to the story that you're all familiar with, into how it all ended, where you see, I'm not gonna try to spoil everything, but if you've watched The Wizard of Oz, then you know exactly what happened to the Wicked Witch at the end of the movie. So it actually, brings all that about in this movie, and I think that was great. I think that was pretty good. So yeah, I mean, you guys, Wicked for Good. I mean, I think we can honestly say that this movie, it did what it's supposed to do. If you've seen part one and you enjoyed part one, I do feel like you will enjoy part two, because this is gonna bring back more familiarity to you, especially if you're someone who knows about the Wizard of Oz movies, and if you've ever watched it before, if you've read the book, or if you've been to the play, or whatever, the Broadway musical, this is gonna be something that ties everything together, and you're gonna love, the way it all ends and everything. So you would recommend it too? You're saying?
Oh, 100%, man. If you like the first one, you're gonna love this one as well. And yeah, man, if you end up doing this after the movie, then you like.
Everybody, thank you for watching this review. That's our time. Please make sure to like and subscribe this video, as it'll help grow the channel. Let us know in the comments what you thought about Wicked for Good. If you already seen it in theaters, let us know how you feel about it. And remember, everybody, it isn't cinema if it ain't absolute cinema. Till next time, this is Hidden Token, my boy Andrew.
Yes, sir.
Thank you guys for watching, and we're out.